Still pretty amazing. I'm admiring some jewels right there. It's like gold. Got back last night from good old Santa Maria. Had a full day of bonding with Craig. So what started this whole process was this here water pump and this brackets that we tried to put on. That's what started this whole endeavor. It was a little bit of a battle yesterday, cutting up this motor plate to get the alternator in there, but we got it on there. It's on there now. So now the question is if it's gonna work in here. Well, I think it's gonna make it. I think this steering shaft here is gonna be really close because the alternator is gonna be right in this area. I'm hoping it's gonna sneak behind the alternator up to this little idler deal here for the shaft. So right in this area is gonna be really, that's what I'm worried about. Really close. So it's a stock block, LQ4, whatever you wanna call it. It's an LQ9 because it's a high output. It's LS3 head, L92, so 823s. We changed the widless tray and the oil pan. It's got a new timing chain and sprocket. Timing chain got beat up. It was more than likely we had some issues with the top end. It seemed like it was doing a lot of valve floating, had some reverb, it had a lot of black in the intake. So it was definitely doing a lot of weird stuff going on. And then we did a new oil pump. There was something, it was a new pump, but there's a little groove or something in it Craig didn't like. And then a new camshaft, new push rods. And then we found out that the valve springs were actually a hydraulic roller. Valve springs are half the open and closed seat pressure of the springs in here now. The rocker arm geometry was way out of left field somewhere. That took a lot of doing. And then the intake is now, had some work done to it. It's matched to the heads. Before it was out of the box, now it's actually port matched to the heads. Craig did some flowing and work to the heads to get the numbers to where they should have been. They're a little bit of false advertisement from before, but they're actually flowed. He did some work to them. They're really, really nice. And then you can see we added the fogger here. Got the applied.
You applied nitrous to this engine?
We applied technology. And then we got the purge valve in the back here, so now I could leave the car shows and I could purge all my nitrous out and look really cool with my little radial tires, and I never use a nitrous kind of thing. I would let you stick your head in this ginormous, you almost shoved the camera down this throttle body and look at it, but I don't want you to see all gorgeousness inside. You just take my word for it. It's got some gorgeousness in there. Okay. I got the breathers in the center here in the valley, and I kept getting oil in the breathers a lot in the back. So Craig did he did a baffle on them. So now we got a little baffle on both breathers, so I can use the same breather tanks and hopefully it won't suck oil out. I think it had something to do with the valve float and just the air turbulence, reverb, and nastiness going on inside. I think it kind of created more pressure than it really had. So they do a relief cut because this cylinder head is the furthest forward, so they have to notch it so the motor plate would hit the head. So because of this bolt going in here and that gap, I actually snuck a washer in there. Make sure that this doesn't bow, so it's all nice and tight on the tensioner, so we don't have any problems. Because this thing is supposed to be a screamer. GS6R 600, it's this little, it's just gonna scream. It's gonna cruise down the freeway at 8,500. Then I want to mention, before we put the engine in it, that we have the tranny in it, and this is the same Turbo 400 that was in it before. It has been rebuilt and upgraded. Some parts in there, some stuff was a little hokey. And then the converter got the stands added to it. It's the same converter for the most part. They changed the stator and a couple things, but you had to add the stands and extend the center out here for the mid plate. It's pretty much in a nutshell, same tranny, same converter. Hopefully the trans brake will work now, but we'll deal with the tuning on that when we get to the tuning part. Ready to put it in? Let's put it in, I can't wait anymore.
Okay, so that did not go as planned. Master Mechanic's on timeout from commentating because he made me pretty furious on when we were putting this in here. The motor plate needs to go on the backside of the frame right here. And for some reason, they have these plates for reinforcement that go over where the motor plate would slide perfectly right down behind it, right here. So what we did to get around this is we cut that reinforcement plate. It was literally impossible to push the motor plate behind it and get it in. Because the whole idea of this subframe is you can pull your whole entire complete engine out with the motor plate and everything. And like, it makes no sense that you have to suspend your engine by the engine hoist, take the water pump off, take the alternator off, and take the whole entire motor plate out just to get the engine out. That's not the design of this, and that's not how it works. I don't know if motor plates are different with small block and big block Chevys, because a lot of people use small block and big block Chevys with these racecraft front ends. I don't know if I've ever seen an LS on a racecraft front end, now that I think of it, ever. So after we pulled the engine back up and ground on that like 4 times to try and figure out how much it needed to be grounded to fit it down in, we were trying to bolt the tranny up to the engine with the motor plate, the mid plate I mean. I don't know, for some reason the bolts would not go in to the bottom holes on the engine. And the master mechanic had this inside of the engine that adapts the converter. I don't know what else. He's only limited so many words in his timeout over here. So, but it goes in the back of the crankshaft and it's supposed to adapt the converter because they lengthened the converter for the mid plate to, you know, make up for the added space that it was taking up. The converter was running into this. It took us way too long to figure that out, and then we took this out, and then it actually lined up, but the bolts still would not go into the bottom of the engine on the bell housing. You could have the engine suspended in the air, you could thread the bolts in just fine, but you go to put it in here, you line everything up, and they won't thread in. Like we have a couple bolts started on the top, but that's about it. But it's sitting in here. I personally think that I'm holding the camera way too low and I'm cutting off the top of my head. So a few things that are really good. There was no issue at all with the alternator. The alternator fits great. And we were worried about the steering shaft, but the steering shaft looks like it'll fit really good as well. So those are two things that we're happy about, but we are definitely not happy with how long it took to get the engine in here. Now that we went through this learning curve of putting an engine into this style of subframe for the first time, hopefully it's easier if we have to take this back out, in and out at some point, which I'm sure this engine will be out. Something might break, who knows?
So now that it's been a few days, I'm out of timeout. I got grounded for a while. I was having such a hard time getting the engine put in here.
Just do what I do when I have problems. Scream!
Just to find out that we ran into more problems. So I was trying to use the headers that were on it previously. For right now, just because of time, if there was a budget on this car, it has gone so far over budget. First thing we found out is that the headers that were on here hit the mid plate. On top of that, the driver's side got road rashed on the bottom when I raced it in the parking lot. So this is the driver's. So these headers are a Jegs. I got a spider hanging on this one. So take care of him really quick. All right, header kit, just a mild steel, so they're pretty heavy. And then I just used the LS flange. So this is the driver's one, and you can see where I had to get on the brakes really hard. So I was okay with that, running it, save time and buying more parts, but it didn't work out. So the way this comes down here, this tube angle runs right into the mid plate. And I didn't really like them because I made them a little longer, I think, than necessary. And Craig gives me a hard time because they're not all equal length, which I don't really think matters that much, but apparently he thinks it does. And then the passenger one is a similar deal. It's straight, but it comes back too far and it runs in to the mid plate. And this one, I got a little dent in it because I couldn't remember how it came out of the car, and I thought it went out the bottom, but it came out the top. So I crammed it on something, taking it apart, but same deal. It's a little on the long side. I think they're ugly.
Correct!
So now we're gonna build a set of stainless headers. I got the flange on here and I put the wires on it. I wanna make it so it's super easy to change spark plugs if it becomes, for some reason, I need to change them. So this one here, I am going to make sure that each tube is exactly the same exact length. And I have a certain length that I'm gonna make them. So I started, this is the number one here. So it's gonna come out, go down, it's pretty simple. I'm gonna tuck it in, so this is gonna be the bottom inside on the collector. So I'm trying to get this all the way forward because the rear ones are gonna have to come more forward so they all are at the same length, which was bad enough. Another problem came up, and then we're moving the car in and out, and I don't have the steering on here yet, the outer, because I have to drill the stock spindle. So again, I tried to use the stock spindle and the brakes that I already had to try to save time and money. So I didn't do the outer tie rods yet, or the outer heim, because I have to drill out the spindle because it's tapered for the ball joint. Now we're no longer tapered, we use a bolt. So as we're moving the car out, in and out, I tried to turn the wheel, and you can see that right now we're pretty much straight for the most part. So this will be going straight down the road. So then if I wanted to turn to the left, this is all I get. That's all I get right there. I think I turned the wheel more than that when I get a little crazy. They say that you can use your stock suspension, spindles and everything, so apparently I can't. So if I change the spindle, then I'm gonna have to change the brake because it's a different brake that works with their spindle. Racecraft doesn't make a spindle, so I'd get the TRZs, and then get the brake. The Willwood makes a brake to go with their spindle. On top of that, I tried to reuse my shocks. I had to get different springs because the diameter that they run, this subframe uses the first generation diameter spring, but I wanted to reuse my shocks that I had in here before. I had some double adjust QA1s, which I was planning on changing down the road, but the travel on these, if this was in here, so this shock's fully extended. So if I had it in here, that's pretty much where it would bolt to. I have hardly any travel. I would have maybe an inch, which is no good. So then I gotta get shocks. Well, for some reason, you cannot get any shocks, like Santoughs or Avcos. And then the rear shocks, I don't have any at all because I moved it inboard, and I have some a line on some shocks that are getting rebuilt at Santup, I think, or they're Avcos, but they're getting rebuilt. So I don't have any rear shocks. My front shocks don't work. I can't get any front shocks. And then I don't even know if the spindle and brakes are in stock. I didn't even check on it. And because we added our fine bars here, we have a little fitment problem with our inner fenders. But you can see that it doesn't exactly fit. It hits the bar. I don't want to run without inner fenders. I want to have inner fenders. So I wound up doing, like you see on the passenger side, well, I thought I had it to fit until I went to bolt it in because the front end is kind of flopping on here. But I had to notch it here. I cut it, and then I was just going to notch around it, but then it had like a sliver on this side, and I wanted to just rattle. And then I had to notch the back here for the little brace bar here, and then this was sticking out. It looked like a motorcycle fender. So then I trimmed this back. I think I'm gonna trim it back a little bit more. It still kind of looks like a motorcycle fender. So I thought I had it trimmed enough, but it needs to be a little bit more. That's what I'm gonna do that side. So I gotta trim the fenders. I'm trying to get the front end back on it. On top of not having time, I got other stuff to work on.
You don't work on this.
Yeah, I just store this piece of junk. Now the engine and tranny and everything, well, the engine and tranny is back in it. It actually went down finally. It's definitely soft, but I don't have any shocks on it. It's got a decent amount of travel for sure. Womp! Almost bounced front end off of it. The car's not gonna make the journey pretty much. So we're still trying to work on it. I'm building the headers. I'm moving forward, but it's not gonna make the rally. So we have a fill-in car. We are changing cars, which means we are changing classes because now we are not gonna be in a power adder class. We are gonna be in an NA class.
We're gonna be in a slow class.
We're gonna be grandma. So now we're just doing it for the experience. So you'll see when we get to Reading on day 1, on Monday, the 25th, we are gonna show up and you'll see what we're gonna drive when we back it out of the trailer.
So we're riding on the car you guys don't care about.
Yes, sir. This is the slowest car that nobody wants to race right here. So you make sure you go down, like, share, subscribe, give us a comment. Come on back. See you later.